is a presentation of ESPN on ABC.
The Fall Frenzy, 16 teams across 4 rounds.
This particular format leaves everybody more vulnerable.
When you have that idea that you have to win every day, that gets you ready for a playoff situation.
Simply unbelievable!
Did they do it again? Yes, sir!
Talk about excitement. 16 teams playing for their lives right off the bat.
You will have a postseason to remember! And we welcome you to the 2020 National League Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. And from Wrigley Field this afternoon, it's the Marlins and the Cubs in Game 1. Playoff baseball from the north side. And let's check out the brackets in the National League. Up top tonight, the late game, the Brewers and the Dodgers. Cardinals and Padres coming up 5 Eastern. The Reds and the Braves scoreless right now. They're in the top of the 7th. Bauer and Fried going head-to-head in our game, the Marlins and the Cubs. Hey there, everybody. Welcome in. John Sciambi along with the Hall of Famer Chipper Jones. All right, buddy. We've been waiting for this all year. You played in over 90 playoff games in your career. This is what it's all about.
This is awesome. I can't wait. I mean, goosebumps like you wouldn't believe. It's like opening day. I'm ready to get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, start on the Cubs side, a team that changed managers in the offseason, and our former colleague, David Ross, taking over as their manager. They got off to kind of a bumpy start, or they should say they got off to a great start, 13-3, but finished at 21-23. But 5 times in the last 6 years with this excellent core into the postseason. But Chipper Jones, that offense has got to get going, in that group of Baez, Bryant, and Rizzo, they got to swing it better.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons they're under 500 over their last 40 games. They've got to get these guys going. As a group, they're hitting just over 200. David Ross is certainly hoping that a turn of the calendar to October here in a day or two. It's got to start today with the, get into the playoffs. These guys have got to be better as a group.
So a shortened season, and in the middle of a pandemic, things were difficult for teams like the Cardinals and the Marlins. Start with this. Going into the season, 20-1 odds to reach the postseason. Worst in the National League, tied for the worst in baseball. Then they had 3 games into the year, 8 players test positive for COVID, 7 games postponed. Mike Hill was busy. 174 roster moves, only 5 players active on the roster all year. 61 players used as Forsythe pitched, and the first team in history to reach the postseason after a 105-loss season. Don Mattingly is the skipper of the Marlins in his 5th year, and a guy that leads an inexperienced bunch. But Chipper Jones, one thing he does have, some really good starting arms.
He's got some really good arms. And today you see Sandy Alcantara. Tomorrow you're going to see Sixto Sanchez and Pablo Lopez in Game 3 if necessary. These guys all live in the mid-90s. In Sixto Sanchez's case, you'll see a bunch of fastballs tomorrow up in the hundreds. But Sandy Alcantara this year, home run, hits, and walk rate all down. That's the reason why he's leading the staff. He's going to have to keep them in the ball game today and keep the Chicago Cubs in the ballpark.
Only 11 homers combined by those 3 starters. First pitch coming up, the Marlins and the Cubs from Wrigley. The Wild Card Series is presented by Hankook Tire, never halfway. Time for our T-Mobile ticket to the game, and we dig into today's key game insights for the fans at home. And how about this? Win the game by hitting a homer. Last year, teams that out-homered their opponent went 27-6 in the postseason, winning percentage at 18.751 from 95 through 2019. That's Chipper Jones' career, basically. The winning percentage, 751 when you out-homer your opponent in the playoffs. And the wind is blowing. Here is Don Mattingly's lineup for today's game. The Marlins 11th in the league in runs per game. Corey Dickerson will lead it off. Marte will hit second. Aguilar in the third spot at DH, and Anderson bears watching. He led them in home runs, and a team that certainly had to go through a number of players this year. The Marlins, as a team, struggled at times to score runs and struggle against righties. Chipper Jones not going to be easy to get today against this guy. 12 starts for Kyle Hendricks at a 288 earned run average, and a guy who's handled himself in the postseason very well.
Yeah, the perfect guy to be on the mound for the Chicago Cubs and David Ross today. Turbo sinker, will mix in a four-seamer up. Really, really good changeup. Does not walk guys. Almost a 8-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He does not beat himself. Holds runners on well as well.
And the first offering of the game misses for ball one. We are underway. So here's Dickerson now. Dickerson, who was signed in January. They signed him to a 2-year deal, and he's done a nice job. Guy's a former All-Star, Gold Glover. Swings through that one. The count is even up. The Marlins team has kind of made the most of its chances. Tied for 11th in home run rate, 9th in on base, 13th in slug. It's not a great offense. When they're right, it's timely hitting and good pitching. Next pitch pop foul, and Hendricks is ahead 1-2.
Yeah, nothing real sexy from the Marlins, you know, average home runs wise, but they do steal a lot of bases. And just like Don Mattingly said when we talked to him today, it doesn't have to be a stolen base per se. It could be the threat of a stolen base that can derail a pitcher.
Hendricks back to work. And the changeup just missed. You saw Contreras trying to hold that for Pat Hoberg, the plate umpire. Contreras did a much better job framing this year under Craig Driver, who came over, who helped Real Muto so much with the Philadelphia Phillies in that department. Now a 2-2. Slapped in the air left field. Schwarber right there. And Kyle makes the catch for the first out. Dickerson is retired. Well, Chipper Jones, if Kyle Hendricks is on today, I think one of the things we will normally see is a decent amount of balls on the ground. Now, the last couple of years, he goes with a four-seamer and a few more outs in the air, but even still, ground ball outs, that's his thing.
No doubt. And let me tell you something. As an opposing player driving up to this ballpark, the first thing you look at when you drive up is the direction that those flags are blowing. It will dictate the way the batters swing the bats, and it will dictate how Hendricks goes at these Miami Marlins hitters.
Yeah, anything away from home plate is good news for hitters, as you say.
You'll see right-handed hitters kind of inside out in balls, as you saw the flags kind of headed out towards right center field. You'll see right-handed batters inside outing balls, and consequently Hendricks will be trying to bore that sinker in on him to jam those right-handed hitters.
So quickly 0-2 on Marte, the former Pirate and Diamondback. It's been a nice addition. That one in the dirt. There's the curve. He's used the curveball intentionally a lot more this year. Kyle Hendricks went into the season with the expressed intent of trying to get his curveball usage up, and he throws it almost 17% of the time, which is a career high.
It's just another thing for hitters to think about.
On the ground, charging Kipnis. 2 up, 2 down. So there's a ball on the ground, and with 2 outs, we take a look at what Kyle Hendricks does in terms of, look at that sinker. You think about him as a sinker ball pitcher, that usage has actually declined. The changeup he leans on a lot, but it's the curveball usage that is really bumped up. He still throws that four-seamer the last couple of years a bit more up in the zone.
I feel like whenever Kyle Hendricks has come out and dominated people, 12, 13, 14 strikeouts, no-hit stuff through 7 or 8 innings, it's that changeup that he can pinpoint whenever he wants, use it as a strikeout pitch, use it as a double play pitch. If he's got command of that changeup, I think he's going to have a lot of success today.
So 2 down, and here is Jesus Aguilar. Boog Sciambi, Chipper Jones. Delighted you could join us here on ABC. Aguilar swings, and that one, a double tap and caught by Kipnis. And Aguilar can't believe it. Lined in the air, Kipnis blocked it to himself, caught it. Here come the Cubs up to hit. Game 1 of the wild card series from Wrigley Field. And as the L rolls by, there's David Ross, skipper of the Cubs, first season, taking over for Joe Madden, a Cubs team 10th in the league in runs per game. Top of the order is going to be key, and got to get those guys going. It'll be Happ, Rizzo, Bryant, and Schwarber to start it out. And we'll see if they can run into something. One thing that they will do is grind out at bats. Chipper today, Sandy Alcantara. 7 starts. He was one of those guys. Pitched opening day, tested positive for COVID. He went from July 24th to August 30th between starts, and that sinker is nasty. First pitch misses, ball 1.
Yeah, one thing to watch for is the difference between right-handed left-handers, right-handers and left-handers. Same as, say, a Dustin May from the Dodgers, who we've seen a few times this year. You'll see some really bad hacks right-handed, some really intense hacks left-handed.
Here's a 2-0. And downstairs, Ian Happ, the Cubs' best hitter this year. He's a little banged up, dealing with a bit of a knee issue. Hit .213 in September, but he had a really good year. And the 3-0 is through there. Former first-round pick and a guy that settled in as their everyday center fielder. Had a dozen homers, got on base. Had a good rip there. Sandy Alcantara, one of the things you'll see is the 2-seamer and the 4-seamer. A lot of fastballs, and he doesn't allow a lot of damage on the fastball, so that is key. 3-2 now. On the ground, and Rojas. There's one out. Well, I think that if things go right for Alcantara, a little bit like Kyle Hendricks, you can expect a decent amount of that, Chipper.
Yeah, it's going to be a ground ball fest today, Boog, I believe. These guys are on their game. You saw Alcantara fall behind 3-0, but he's able to rely on that fastball to get himself back into the count. Gets weak contact to the shortstop for the first out of the game.
So here's Rizzo now, right on top of that plate, and takes ball 1. Anthony this season just .222, did have 11 homers. He's a guy that grew up in South Florida, grew up a Marlin fan, big Gary Sheffield fan. He loved going to Marlin games and heckle the Braves third baseman from time to time.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's such a great story. I laughed at that video from spring training so many times. I watched it over and over. It's just, he delivers it so well.
Here's a 1-1. Just missed. Wallach trying to hold it right there. And now 2 balls and a strike on Rizzo. See how the conditions factor in. Going to be windy, that's for sure. Contra back to work. And now we'll see Rizzo go to work as he chokes up.
Bringing up the wind conditions again. We talked about the righties kind of inside out in balls. On the flip side, lefties will be right up on that plate looking to yank.
And he struck him out with a heater at 98. Let's welcome in the third member of our team, and he is on site at Wrigley Field. We say hello to Jesse Rogers.
Hey guys, welcome to my perch here for the next couple of 3 days. Section 210, unfortunately not sitting with 40,000 screaming Cub fans. The vibe obviously different, just some Cubs employees sitting in the stands in front of me. Outside Wrigley Field, Boog, you know this, it'd be packed with fans. There are some on the rooftops, but it's just a different vibe this time around with obviously the COVID situation. So the players are used to this, but they're still going to have to find some energy and bring that to the game. One weather note, first of all, the wind blowing out, as you mentioned, about 30 miles an hour towards right field. But that could change as a system's coming through here that could provide some rain here within the hour. Now, I'm told it should be light and the game should be able to continue on. But that could change some of the conditions. Of course, that would be the worst case scenario for the managers of these two teams if the starters had to sit out a long time for a rain delay. But that's not likely from the system that's coming through here. It should be light rain.
So Bryant at the plate and Alcantara falling behind. Chris Bryant, a guy who's had a tough year. As that one is pushed foul. Here's a 3-2. Oh, look at the wind. Wow. And a great play out there by Birdie, stumbling and fighting the wind, was able to pull it down. And that is the inning. Don Mattingly, 5th season as Marlins manager, of course, was skipper with the Dodgers. Nobody picked this club to be able to do anything this season, but we believed in ourselves. It's easy to be proud of these guys, the way they have dealt with everything. It's amazing the job that this team has done. They played on the 26th of July in Philly, and then not again until August 4th. He's got a real connection. It's a younger group, and he's done a magnificent job. Chipper Jones, be hard to imagine that he doesn't win National League Rookie of the Year or National League Manager of the Year.
He's certainly going to get his fair share of votes. They have been through a ton of stuff this year, and he is having a blast, to be honest with you. We talked to him this morning, and he was just, he loves these young kids and being around them and being their manager.
It'd be really hard for him to win Rookie of the Year. Brian Anderson, this guy has put together a nice season. 3 homers in a game, and it was a doubleheader. So a 7-inning game. Swings through that one upstairs. And again, Kyle Hendricks, a guy who throws the ball where he wants to throw it. 8 walks the whole year. I bet you if we asked him, he probably would be able to remember all 8 of them.
Well, when you can count them on both hands, you probably could.
Just missed off the outside edge. Marlins, a team one of 3 in the playoffs with a negative run differential. Brewers, Marlins, Blue Jays, and then the Reds were even. 2-seamer, runs back over, and a called strike 3. And let's check in for the first time today with Kevin Collins.
Yeah, and Boog, time for today's Wild Card Roundup, brought to you by Coors Light. Elimination game for the Twins over on ESPN2. The Astros are up. Kyle Tucker following up back-to-back 2-out walks with an RBI single. 1-0 Stros. By the way, multi-game coverage via Squeeze Play, Boog, available on ESPN+.
Yes, with my guy Jason Benetti. Indeed, look forward to that. Here's Garrett Cooper now. And ball 1 to Cooper. Cooper starting at first base. He and Aguilar do kind of the shuffle between first and DH. This guy, when he's healthy, He hits it hard. Guys played the big leagues with the Yankees and the Marlins, originally drafted by the Brewers. Got some pop on a windy day at Wrigley Field. Sciambi, Chipper Jones, Kyle Hendricks, game one starter. Backhanded Baez, long throw, and Chipper Jones, one of the things the Cubs do really well, and that is taking ground balls and turning them into outs. Baez is sensational, and you look at him in the hole, shows off that arm.
Yeah, and you got to figure we're going to see it on display today with, you know, the Marlins are one of the top ground ball hitting teams in all of baseball. So you figure the formula of Hendricks on the mound, the Marlins a ground ball hitting team, and the way the Cubs play defense behind it could be a good formula for the Cubs today.
And again, as you said, Hendricks tries to induce ground balls. The Marlins is an offense at the highest ground ball rate in the game. Outside ball one to the veteran Matt Joyce. This guy just, he's the cliche. He's just a big leaguer. Detroit, Tampa, the Angels, Pirates, Oakland, Atlanta. And a guy who loves the plays. 147 big league home runs. The roller up along first, but that is, they're going to get together. Yeah, foul ball.
He's a guy that can be very valuable to a ball club. You know, he can go out and be a fourth outfielder, but he's a professional at bat coming off the bench. He's a guy that you can count on late 7th, 8th, 9th innings to give you a good quality at bat. Lefty, righty, doesn't matter, just a solid major league hitter.
So the shift is on Kipnis into the outfield. Joyce swings through that. Last year's spring training for Matt Joyce. Came to camp with the Indians. Got let go there, moved to the Giants. They quickly let him go, and he turned around and he was with the Braves. So, I mean, he went Cleveland, San Francisco, and Arizona, then across the country to the Braves inside of a week.
Thus is life of a fourth outfielder, right, a pinch hitter, if you will, in the major leagues. You have to float around to those teams that need that specific type of player.
Righty back to work. There's that curveball again for Kyle Hendricks, now 30 years old. And Kyle pitches college ball at Dartmouth. He was an 8th round pick of the Rangers in 2011. Came to the Cubs in the Ryan Dempster trade in July 2012. Did a little different off-season workout that's aided him as he worked out with the guy who's the director of strength and conditioning and training with the Yankees, Eric Cressy. Went down to his facility and worked on shoulder stability, core stability, and then also a little longer arm path. And he says he's had a little more in the tank late in games. 2-2.
I don't know what he's got in the tank, Boog, but that movement that he's got, especially the strikeout pitch to Brian Anderson to lead off the inning, that is Maddox-esque to a T.
3-2 down. One of the things that he kind of whispers is he actually never really was locked in on watching Maddox. The way they intersected was he was big in reading Harvey Dorfman's book, The Mental ABCs of Pitching, and Greg Maddox was a big Harvey Dorfman guy as well. And so a lot of the mental approach is something that they shared, even though stylistically they're very similar. Well, there's a rare walk. And with 2 outs, he walked 8 in 81 1/3 this year.
Also Maddox-esque.
Yeah, believe it. And now here's John Birdie. Talk about the speed on this team. 2nd in the majors in steals. This guy can run. Cool story. Originally drafted by the Blue Jays out of Bowling Green. Played there for his uncle. Good athlete, just good player. This offseason, he helped save the Bowling Green baseball program. They raised $1.5 million to sustain it. They were going to cut it, that baseball program, during the pandemic. But I Ziggy Zumba lives another day.
That's great. That's awesome to hear. Guys giving back. John Birdie is their grinder.
Good eye right there. An on-base machine as well. Those scores just getting started. Boog Sciambi, the Hall of Famer, Chipper Jones. It is Wild Card Series Game 1 from Wrigley. All three will be played here. The third, of course, if necessary. Joyce at first.
Saw what kind of athlete Birdie was on that last play to end the last inning. The wind is not only going to wreak havoc with fly balls that could possibly carry out of the ballpark or not, but also pop-ups. Don't give up on pop-ups on the infield and shallow outfield, because they could be a circus today.
Birdie, a guy who could play second, could play third, even short. I mean, a shortstop by trade. Joyce at first. It's a piece of that one. Here's that play, Chipper Jones.
Yeah, he's playing, shortstop, and he's got to run a good 25, 30 yards, kind of drifting. Don't worry about his knee right there. He took a huge chunk of side right there, landing hard on that knee.
So love it if somebody came out with one of those like dispensers with the green sand to replace your divot at the golf course. Yeah, Chipper, you play on nicer courses.
Still got to replace your divot, buddy. I'm more of a guy when I lay the sod over my golf ball that I kind of want to put the sod back in place.
Birdie in a 1-2 hole. And that one outside. So there you go. Right on right changeup in that spot. He is not scared to throw that changeup to the right-handed batters. There's no question. He'll throw the sinker. If you think of righties and lefties, he's going to throw the sinker more frequently to the righties. Pitch count getting ratcheted up here in the inning. In the air, Kipnis makes the grab, and that is the inning. Midway in the second, and we are scoreless on a windy day in Chicago. And that wind is whipping. Oh boy, here's Kyle Schwarber down. Alcantara, and the righty delivers. Two 2-0 to Kyle Schwarber. Baseball from Wrigley Field, game 1 of this wild card series. You can hear the wind whipping. And Alcantara misses.
He's really struggled with his command early on in counts. He's been able to get back into counts with his fastball, but I don't think he can't do that, and he can't continue to fall behind to these Cubs hitters. At some point, one of them's going to connect.
Yeah, one of the things that I think, especially for the Cubs, is crucial that one of those left-handed hitters comes up with a big knock, because the splits are so drastic for this guy. He devours righties. He's given up 2 extra base hits the entire year to right-handed hitters. So it would seem that it's on the lefties to deliver a big hit in this one. As Contreras steps to the plate. A rough second half of August and then delivered in September.
Weather's going to play a big part today, Boog. You know, with the wind blowing the way it is, you know, it's going to push a ball out of the ballpark. It's going to force somebody to make a mistake on defense. One of these pitchers is not going to have the feel because of the rain or the wind.
There's a strike.
It's just a lot going on.
Sandy, 25 years old, from the Dominican Republic, and a guy who grew up with his favorite player. Guess who?
Pedro Martinez.
We'll be saying the same thing about the guy starting tomorrow. That clips the corner. Nice pitch. There's that slider that just touches the outside edge. That ball lined out to center. Marte cutting across and makes the grab, and Schwarber back to first. Starling Marte, twice he's won a Gold Glove. But he won those Gold Gloves in left field. He's a pretty good defender. Speaking of good defenders, there's Jason Hayward. Look how these guys are going to be out there with, like, they're going to have like a space to store a book out there, right?
Yeah.
Well, this guy's had a really good year, albeit an abbreviated season, but
it's good to see him kind of get turned back around. Just a ex-teammate of mine, just a great kid. Really pulling for him to get his offense back on track. As we said before, he's a premier defender out there in right field. Got a couple of Gold Gloves to show for it. Good to see him starting to hit the ball in the gaps and out of the ballpark again.
Yeah, slugged 456. The ball with authority. Dealing with a guy that's got some nasty stuff, Sandy Alcantara. Originally signed by the Cardinals 2013. Came to the Marlins in the Ozuna deal in December of 2017. 0-2. Foul tipped into the mid of Wallach. Yeah, the second strikeout for the righty. Fans call the shots during the postseason games and compete for cash and prizes with MLB Rally, a new free-to-play game where you make at-bat predictions in real time. Download MLB Rally app right now. Restrictions apply. See official rules at MLB.com/rally. So here's Baez now. Talked to David Ross pregame, and it has been chatted about, but this is a guy, and David was the one that brought this up, that it would appear that not having fans in the stands affects different players different ways. He's a guy, I think, that you feel is sort of a performer, as a guy who plays really to the fans. And David said, yeah, you're used to in a big spot, the charge of the crowd takes you out of your head, and now you're just alone with your thoughts.
Yeah, you say performer, I say showman. This guy, He does. He goes out there to put on a show every single day. It's very unusual to see that number, that 598 OPS next to this guy's names, because the first pitch that he took in this at bat and then that one usually don't stay in the ballpark for him.
That one gets through the left side. Schwarber will stop at second. And so a good sign as Baez comes up with a knock.
Kind of stung the fingers. This is slider down in the zone, hits it off the end of the bat, but gets it through the 5-hole. Good job of staying on the ball right there. Not too many balls that aren't hit on the butt and get through this Wrigley Field infield.
Now, many years when you played, it was crowned, and I would say the infield grass was notoriously even higher.
There's no doubt it was a situation where the first hop on the grass would skip and the second hop would check. That makes it really difficult on an infielder. I would actually play deep as much as I could so that I didn't have to field balls off of this grass.
Vic Caratini, the DH here. See the Marlins defense. And a strike in there. Caratini, who will catch Darvish tomorrow. He synced up pretty nicely with you, Darvish, and they've become a tandem. 2 on for him with 2 outs, and the Cubs an opportunity. Brian Wallach behind the plate, son of Tim Wallach.
Mattingly going for pitch calling and defense over Alfaro. Alfaro's offense.
Yep.
Wanting to go with defense behind the plate.
And Chad Wallach's done a good job. They like him. One of the things that Chad swung it a little bit better, and a redhead to boot. So he got me on his side. Opportunity here for the Cubs and Caratini. Birdie gobbles it up, and the Marlins get out of the jam. Still scoreless as we head to the 3rd. This presentation of Major League Baseball will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Major League Baseball encourages fans to take an active role in their communities and make a plan to vote this election season. Visit MLB.com/vote to learn more. Boog Sciambi and Chipper Jones. I am in studio in Bristol, Chipper in Atlanta, and the Cubs and the Marlins are in Chicago. The sun has peaked out, so the rain has stopped, and first pitch swinging, knocked down Rizzo. Hendricks gets over. And on one pitch, Rojas retired. Hit that pretty hard there.
That's what we talked about early. Right-handed hitters, take note of those flags in the outfield. You can see them trying to inside-out balls, hopefully get them in the air. This ball is really the first ball we've seen stung by a Marlins hitter. Nice play by Rizzo. Shows off his gold gloves over there.
Yeah, Rizzo, a guy who has been an elite level defender. 3 times he's won the Gold Glove, and he's won a Platinum Glove. And here's Chad Wallach. Wallach at 227 with a home run. A Marlins team that didn't do a ton of damage with the home run ball. It's pretty incredible what they were able to go through and get here. 5 guys stayed active on their roster all year. Aguilar, Anderson, Lopez, Boxberger, and Kinsler. And Don Mattingly, it would be a crime if he did not win Manager of the Year, I think.
Just goes to show you how deep this organization is starting to get. They are on the uptick, and you see this year they're closing in on the top of the National League East. He himself said the Miami Marlins are more equipped to compete with the upper echelon of teams in the National League East, that being the Braves, Nationals, and whatnot.
And you think about, they used 61 players. The big league record was set by the Mariners last year, over 162, 67. I mean, that's amazing. So
2020.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, they had the 18 positive COVID tests, one player opting out. And for Mike Hill, their president of baseball operations, they have to make those moves. They have just 3 homegrown players on this team, 17 guys via trade, 6 free agents, 2 waiver claims. I mean, they've had to cobble this roster together. And Don Mattingly has managed it wonderfully. Talking with James Rowson, their bench coach, former hitting coach with the Twins. I won't foul it back.
Well, it starts with the pitching staff, as you know it. And they got 3, 4, 5 guys that can run it up there 95 to 100 miles an hour and have given them a chance to win 90% of their ball games. And even when they've had to play, so many double headers and so many games in so many days, these guys have remained consistent. That's how they've gotten to this point. They are the number 6 seed in the National League playoffs for a reason.
A strikeout there, and Hendricks has 2 away. Don Mattingly, who turned 59 on April 20th, or did he? Don's birth certificate states he was born in 1962, not 1961, as shown in most baseball records. That was a Topps card, 1987. That's a little fishy looking. April 20th, 1962. But remember those nuggets. So it said his birth certificate says he's born in 62. Well, why in all the baseball records does it say he was born in 61? This is a true story. He got into a slump early in his career before that 87 card came out. And to get the writers off the story, he said, hey, I'm younger than what it says in all the record books. I was actually born in 1962. And they went and chased that story, and he completely made it up. Eventually, he couldn't keep a straight face and admitted, yeah, right, so it really was 1961. But that note got out there, so it got onto a baseball card that he was born in 62. So he's not 58, he's 59, and we love him just the same.
Well, I'm actually shorter and lighter than all of my baseball cards.
Is that, oh, give it to me. What do all your baseball cards say? Give me this. I need this.
I think most of them say I'm 6'4", 210, and I'm like 6'3", 225.
That's awesome. He's shorter and fatter. That's the story of my life. That's all my card would have said. It wouldn't even have had numbers. It would have just said, Book Sciambi. He's shorter and fatter. Here's Dickerson now. Hendricks and a 3-1. And that missed. How about this? Kyle Hendricks with 2 walks in the game. Uncharacteristic for him.
Yeah, stop the presses. He doesn't give a free 90 feet very often, and he's given up 2 walks and 2 90 feet in the first couple innings. It's in the playoffs, a free 90 feet is magnified.
He walked 2 in a game twice this year. So man aboard, and here is Marte. Kipnis shaded up the middle. The Cubs did a lot more shifting this year compared to last year. This one drilled center field, but Happ is there. He's got it, and that is the inning. We're midway in the third, and we're scoreless. Welcome back, Boog Sciambi and the Hall of Famer Chipper Jones. Here's Jason Kipnis. Sciambi Alcantara. Pumps in a strike. Kipnis signed a minor league deal. Veteran was solid for the Cubs at second base. Chicago kid. Grew up in Northbrook. Same town, and grew up real close to, I know, cover years Cubs fan, Steve Bartman. He's gotten a chance to play in his hometown for the first time. He's with the Indians from 2011 through 2019. He was on the other side when the Cubs won it all in 16. Here's a 2-1.
Got a little Mickey Tettleton in him too. Love it.
Yeah, he does. With the way he basically points the bat back like that right there. It's just a way to get it in the right spot in his fingers, he says he does that. I'll give you another funny thing. The last couple of off seasons, you're watching me, puts the bat just, points it back there for a second. It's just settling it into his fingers to put it into the right spot, and then gets into his setup. Little tapper. Rojas gobbles it up and throws to first, and Kipnis retired. Kipnis, Chipper Jones, you know when you take the bus to the field, go past those softball fields along Lakeshore Drive?
Yes.
So he's played in softball leagues in the off season with his buddies on those fields. He says he doesn't do the point the bat back thing so that no one will, just in case someone might ID him. But even
no disguise, nothing?
No disguise. As recently as 2 seasons ago, he said he was playing some softball. Happ, Rojas knocks it down, goes to get it, but Happ runs pretty well, and that's going to be a single.
Second time through the lineup, I think you can expect these Cubs hitters to be a little more aggressive on the first pitch, knowing that they're going to see fastballs. Tremendous play by Rojas just off the end of the glove, or else that's a SportsCenter top 10 highlight.
Rojas, the guy who's really the heart and soul of this team. He's their leader on and off the field. And he's the connection to Don Mattingly when you get down to it. He played for Mattingly in LA. He was a reserve infielder. I don't even know that Donnie thought he was going to be an everyday guy. But here he is as one of their better offensive players and their anchor and captain defensively. Time called here.
I asked Don this morning, I said, with such a young ball club, who is your leader? Who is the guy who leads the clubhouse discussions and all that? And he said, Miggy Rojas is the man.
Rizzo lifts that one center field. Marte coming on some more and makes the grab. Got the sunglasses on. 2 down. All right, it's almost 3 innings in. What's your take on Sandy Alcantara?
Well, he's fallen behind a bunch of hitters early. I say that, and he's thrown 3 pitches and gotten 2 outs in this inning, but he's been able to right the ship within the at-bat, get back in the count with his fastball. Obviously, being able to throw at 95 to 98 miles an hour, you can get away with some mistakes, but he's had good movement on his pitches, used his defense, and here we are with a shutout in the third.
Ryan pops that one up. One of the things that's interesting, especially with this Marlins staff, you think about these power arms, guys like Sandy, like Sixto, and even with all that velocity, they rank 29th out of 30 teams in strikeout rate. So even when they're getting outs, the ball is in play. It's the defense executing. Towards third, but foul. Bill Welke on the call.
Yeah, I had seen this pitching staff from afar this year, and I look at Alcantara, Sanchez, Lopez, Urania. These guys all throw 95 plus, so you would expect them to have a strikeout per inning, if not more. And I don't know if any of them have a strikeout per inning, which was surprising to me at a, with a closer look inside the numbers.
That is in there, got him looking, and Bryant knew it. And out number 3, Alcantara, his third strikeout. We'll talk with Don Mattingly when we come back. Back at Wrigley Field, game 1 of this wild card series. The Cubs and the Marlins are scoreless. And we go down to the dugout, and we are joined by the skipper of the Marlins, Don Mattingly. Donnie, let's start on the hill. How do you feel like Sandy has acquitted himself here today?
Yeah, settling down a little bit. We've seen it early. Just a little antsy. He was a little amped up. Now he's starting to get a little bit more of the first pitch strikes, get ahead in the count, be able to use all his stuff.
Tell me a little bit about this season, this team, and clinching a playoff spot. When you guys took the team picture, you slid on the grass. It was emotional for you. You guys, I mean, you should be proud of your accomplishment, but what was your perspective?
It was a great feeling. For what we've been through the last couple of years, and then what we're gone through this year, it was just, it's one of the best feelings I've ever had in the game.
What's it like in Wrigley Field with no fans?
It's different. It's like, we were in Yankee Stadium with no fans, and Wrigley with no fans. Our young guys are getting off the hook.
That's pretty good. Donnie, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care.
That's pretty funny. And, there's a game earlier this year where the Brewers and the Cubs went to extra innings, Chipper, and Craig Counsell was trying to figure out, okay, so what do I do in terms of going to the bullpen? And he thought about bringing in Drew Rasmussen for his major league debut and got into a debate with his coaches about bringing him in, and they said, you can't bring in a rookie for his big league debut in the 10th inning of a tie game at Wrigley Field. And Count said, it's not really the 10th inning of a tie game at Wrigley Field.
That's a great point. You're right. There's a different feel to it. This is not, and it really kind of stinks for the young guys, this being their first opportunity, because you think of some of these places you want to experience playing on the road in the playoffs in a hostile environment. That's where you see what you're made of. This is more akin to something you would see on the backfields in spring training.
I want to be that camera guy all the way up there. 2-2 on Aguilar, who was part of that Brewers team. It was one game from the World Series at 18. He rifles that one towards the left field corner. Schwarber over there to pick it up. Aguilar towards second. And he's got himself a double. And the Marlins are in business.
This is a great job of hitting right here. Change up. See the change up grip. Bottom falls out of it. That ball's almost going to hit the dirt. And he's able to get down to it, stay inside of it, rifle it down the left field line. That's what Jesus Aguilar can do. Pretty funny to see him belly flop into second like that. Yep. Tip of the cap.
That's right. Think of Brian McCann belly flopping into third. Was it your birthday? I think it was on your birthday. It was your birthday present in the triple. Here's Anderson. And the pitch outside. So an opportunity here for the Marlins. Jesus Aguilar, who's been such a big pickup. They got him off of waivers from the Rays in December. And now Anderson, an opportunity, and he's been good in these spots. too far, and now 1-1.
This is where a guy like Hendricks can make it extremely difficult on a hitter to do his job. Right here, guy on second, nobody out. You're looking to hit the ball to the right side, but you've got that turbo sinker boring in on you. It is awfully tough to hit the ball to the right-hand side of the infield to get Aguilar to third base with less than 2 outs.
He doesn't. Kipnis gathers it in. Good job by Anderson. Runner at third and 1 out.
This is what we're talking about right here. This ball boring in on right-handed hitters. They're trying to go the other way, but he makes it virtually impossible. Bunch of weak outs to the right side. Really only seen one ball stung to the right side, you know, all day. That is what that sinker does to right-handed hitters.
And Rojas hit that one hard at Rizzo to the right side. Here's Garrett Cooper, grounded out his first time. Marlins with a chance. Game 1, we're scoreless, top 4. To third. Bryant stares him back, throw to first, 2 down, and let's go to the studio and Kevin Connors.
All right, Boo, the Twins are facing elimination. They trailed the Astros 1-0 in the 5th when Nelson Cruz delivers a rocket to left. Marwin Gonzalez scores, but check out the relay. Tucker to Correa to Maldonado to get Luis Arias at the plate. 1-1 game right now over on ESPN2. Boog, White Sox A's on ESPN News.
All right, we're busy, and now Mac Joyce, as you see the stat, Marlins highest percentage of runs with 2 outs in the bigs. Almost half their runs with 2 outs. Is it a repeatable skill? Whatever. They got a guy at third and there are 2 outs. That's what they've done this year. They've scored a lot in these spots. There's a strike.
I say this about Matt Joyce. This is this type of situation that he has based his whole career on. Coming off the bench with guys on base late in games to be able to come through for his ball club.
They got the shift on, so Joyce, there's some space out there for him. It's Kipnis in shallow right, and only Bryant on the left side. Ball and a strike now. Righty fires. Rizzo there, and he'll take it himself, and Hendricks pitches his way out of the jam. David Ross will join us coming up. This presentation of Major League Baseball will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. The Hall of Famer Chipper Jones, and joined by the manager of the Chicago Cubs, David Ross. Hello, David.
How y'all doing? Hi, good to talk to you guys. Long time.
Yeah. Hey, you played in a Game 7 of the World Series. That's the ultimate pressure spot. But what's it like in terms of nerves, playing versus managing? Because you got a little less control when you're not playing.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part to deal with. You try to do all your homework, be prepared, but you know, at the end of the day, this is a fun time of year. It's about the players. You got to put them in a situation to succeed. And I've got a good group, been in this environment before. You try to be ready, try to give them encouragement, lift them up, and just continue to be positive.
Rossi, I know the answer to this, but I want you to let the fans know how much the wind plays a factor at Wrigley Field, both from a hitter standpoint, a pitcher standpoint, and on defense as well.
Yeah, we almost saw one earlier, the pop fly. It's really blowing hard here today. I mean, hitters come in, that's the first thing they check. They're checking the flags when they get to the field or even driving in. These guys are want to know where that's at. I remember catching here, you could really play the wind, be a little more aggressive when it's blowing in, especially from left when I was catching Johnny. Just be a little more aggressive in. It's tough to cut this wind as a hitter.
Do you want to call any replays or anything like that? You got anything in our tape room that you want to do?
I got enough on my plate right now, but I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm here to help. All right, well, listen, enjoy the rest of today. Thanks for coming on.
Good to talk to you guys.
David Ross, skipper of the Chicago Cubs, our former colleague, and first year as manager, and a guy who I don't think either of us had any doubt would succeed in that role, right?
Oh, I mean, no doubt whatsoever. He was going to be extremely popular with his teammates slash players. You know, he was teammates with a lot of these guys, but I don't know if there's been a more popular guy come through the city of Chicago than David Ross in the last 5 or 10 years.
Let's go to Jesse Rogers, who's in the stadium.
Well, one thing about the win, guys, it's not just the fielders that can't give up on the plays. Coaches will remind these hitters, man, you got to run out every ball that goes up, because a single could be a double if a fielder misplaces a ball. By the way, that pop-up earlier that John Purdy tracked down, 94 feet he ran to catch it. So it's important for both sides, the offense and the defense, to be on top of things with this wind.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Coaches have to be alert. Hitters as well. This one in the air, and Rojas will pull it down. Schwarber scrambling back, and there's one away as Alcantara able to get Contreras. It's funny, I just saw David Ross prior to Jesse Rogers jumping in, giving a sign to Will Venable, his third base coach. I remember seeing him in spring training, and he was nervous about having to give signs because he'd never done it before. And the first time that they executed a sign and it translated, he kind of looked at Will Venable and they kind of pumped the fists at each other, and they were like, all right, it worked. They got the sign.
I feel exactly the same way. If I had to go through a series of signs, I would have to go through them.
Birdie handles, steps on second, throw gets away. Hayward sprinting for second. There's a throw into the outfield. Hayward's trying to find it. Schwarber's still in the vicinity. And with 2 outs, a man in scoring position, that probably wasn't the best choice for Garrett Cooper.
This is a tailor-made double play right here. This play has got to be made. You get the out at second easily. Quite honestly, that ball has to be caught at first base. Then he compounds the play by making a wild throw that could have cost him another free 90 feet. Now you've got a gazelle in Jason Hayward on the bases with a chance to score the game's first run.
The rain is back. I'm interested to see how they score that one. I'm with you. I think Garrett Cooper maybe should have come up with that. I don't know that that error should be charged to Birdie. You see the rain is back and falling. As Baez swings through that heater at 97. Man, he's got good stuff.
Baez trying to match a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball with a 100% swing. Let's see if he cuts it down, gets his foot down, gets his runner in from second. Nope.
Yeah, going upstairs. And again, we told you Alcantara is a guy with that two-seamer. He'll throw that about 36% of the time, but he'll throw a good four-seamer as well at 97. Rain coming down harder. Hayward at second. There's no score, 2 outs.
You can see what both of these pitchers are trying to do to the right-handed hitters with that wind blowing out from left to right. They're trying to keep the ball in on some of these right-handed hitters and make them hit it into the wind as opposed to riding the wind.
1-2. Let's see if he gets a strike. Hayward was on the move.
That's a mistake right there that Javier Baez in years past does not miss. This is a cement mixer slider right down the middle that he fouls straight back, and he's thinking to himself, man, I cannot believe that ball is on a tee right there. And you heard him kind of yell at himself after he missed it.
By the way, they charged the error to Birdie. The 1-2. Swing and a high fly ball left field. Dickerson there, shy of the track. And a two-handed catch. And that is the inning. Cubs can't cash in. We stay tied onto the 5th.
Show me the MLB postseason schedule.
Boog chipper, and yeah, how about our postseason schedule for tonight? Yankees and the Indians, 7 Eastern. Yankees up 1-0. Brewers and Dodgers, game 1 tonight. That's at 10 Eastern. Looking forward to catching both of those. How about the Indians? Bieber got banged around a little bit. Garrett Cole won the matchup of the Aces. The Yankees offense unloaded. Here's John Birdie now. Birdie, Rojas, and Chad Wallach. And the curve is in for a strike. This guy at 30 years old runs really well. Was part of the Blue Jays organization, mentored some of their young bucks. Look out. And Birdie will take his base. And that bear's watching because he can run. Well, this is another look here.
Well, we got 2 walks. Now we got a hit batter. That one just 2-seamer. Kind of gets away from him. Very uncharacteristic.
Hendricks hit 1 in the regular season. All right. So the Marlins, second most steals in the majors. They stole it at 79%. Big league average was 75, and Birdie led him with 9. Hendricks is hard to run on, and there's strike 1.
Be interesting right here with nobody out. This is really the first guy who's been on first base who's a real threat to steal. And this is what we were talking about with Mattingly earlier. It's not always about the stolen base, but the threat of the stolen base that can wreak havoc on a pitcher.
Hendricks got a really good move, one of the better right-handed pickoff moves in the game.
Well, that helps, Boog. And to be honest with you, it also helps that you got a guy back behind the plate with a howitzer on his right side to throw down to second.
Yeah, Wilson Contreras has an absolute cannon.
It's another way to combat the stolen base. Vary your moves. Pick over a couple times, step off, quick pitch, hold, hold, hold. That's how you combat the stolen base.
Rizzo with a quick tag. Birdie back in. Got the oven mitt on the right hand there.
Looks to me like he's leaning a little bit.
They were peeking to see if maybe they'd go to video. He was saying no. That's what David Ross was doing there. No score. We're in the 5th. Boog, Sciambi, Chipper Jones, game 1. Cubs and the Marlins. Runner taking off, throw to second. And there you go, Birdie with the steal. He got a good jump. And a guy who's got excellent speed read it right. And now the Marlins have a man in scoring position.
Yeah, you could tell on some of those pickoff plays that he was leaning. He was definitely going and got a really, really good jump. This play wasn't even really close as Contreras bounces the throw down there. For the second inning in a row, the Marlins leadoff man on second base. Didn't get him in last time from third base with less than 2 outs. Let's see if they can do it this time.
So here's Rojas, grounded out his first time. Curveball hit on the ground. Baez gobbles it up. Throw high and safe at first. And time called. Baez made a nice play to field it, had extra time, but instead threw high. And Rizzo couldn't hang on to first.
Doesn't hit behind the runner here, but Baez plenty of time. Just airmails the throw. I think that's pretty cut and dry. That's going to be an error on Baez. Man, we're seeing some uncharacteristic stuff out of Hendricks and now Baez on defense today.
So a team that led the majors in turning ground balls into outs, as Tommy Hotovy has his say. Uncharacteristically, Baez, I mean, it was like a two-seam grip that just went sailing away, and he was lucky that Rizzo got off the ground and was able to grab that. And as well for Hendricks, not used to seeing him hit a batter. So miscues put the Marlins in a really good spot, first and second, and nobody out. Chad Wallach struck out his first time, squares to bunt. That one fouled back.
One thing you don't want to do if you're the Marlins right here is hit into a double play with this turbo sinker of Hendricks. So how do you combat that? Let's throw a bunt down. See what kind of bunt defense the Cubs throw at the Marlins.
Remember, Rizzo is brilliant at crashing hard and throws really well. The 0-1. Hit on the ground towards third. Bryant has it. There's one. Across to first, there's two. Wow. That's a big turn of events right there. Hendricks got the perfect pitch, and the Cubs turned it into 2 outs.
This is a huge play in the grand scheme of things. They try and bunt the first time. Donnie probably says he's not going to be all that efficient at getting that bunt down. Lets him swing away. And there's the turbo sinker. Hits it right at Bryant. Step on third. There's your tailor-made double play.
Now the last 2 innings, 5 ground ball outs. And that Cubs defense that we told you is very good. Turns it around. And now Hendricks with the 8 outs in the ground. A runner at second. Marlins still with a chance. Told you they've cashed in with 2 outs all year. And a changeup missing to Dickerson. Ball 1. Dickerson has flied out and he has walked. The 31-year-old gets a chance to play with the Marlins. He signed a 2-year, $17.5 million deal. Count 1-1.
Yeah, Dickerson has really knocked his strikeout rate down immensely in the last few years. He had a couple of years a while back where he struck out 134 and 155 times in a season, and now all of a sudden he's under 100, and you're seeing him hit leadoff in the playoffs for the Miami Marlins. That's a pretty big turnaround.
Hendricks says yes, and that one all the way to the backstop. I think it might have crossed him up, at least the way Contreras went after that. We'll see. He kind of stabbed at it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, whenever there's a guy on second, you go through a series of signs. You may even have an indicator. A lot of times, one of the two of them will get crossed up. Certainly in that situation, it looks like Contreras was the guy who got crossed up.
So a man at third, and now the count is 2-1. Swings through that one.
Boog, that last pitch that Hendricks threw almost looked like it cut. That's something that we don't see from him. Yep. Obviously the turbo sinker and the 4-seamer, but that might have been a 4-seamer that actually cut on Contreras, and the reason he wasn't able to glove it.
They ruled it a pass ball. So a man at third. Marlins trying to strike first. We are in the 5th. It's softly to third. Bryant handles the chance, and Hendricks pitches out of a first and second no-out jam. Still scoreless. We head to the bottom of the fifth. Welcome back to the 2020 National League Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. Back at Wrigley Field, Luke Sciambi and the Hall of Famer Chipper Jones. Authentic caps, tees, jerseys, hoodies, and more. Get all your postseason gear and cheer on your team at home with the official source, MLBshop.com. Sandy Alcantara back to work. And it'll be Caratini, Kipnis, and Happ. No score, bottom of the fifth. Caratini a little bit better as a left-handed hitter. A little more slug in there. That one in the dirt. This is a Cubs team in the playoffs for the fifth time in the last 6 years. Won it all in 2016, 3 division titles. This core, I mean, they have changed the expectation for Cubs baseball. You know, for the longest time, Cubs and Red Sox fans were sympathetic with one another in terms of it had been so long, 1918, 1908, since they had won. And now, for both fan bases, they still have a little bit of the self-loathing and the sky is falling. But the expectation both ways when you consider what Theo Epstein came and with this core group of Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, the winning, and now the expectation is we're good, we should win. And the same thing with the Red Sox winning 4 times.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that man has made a huge difference. It takes a shakeup from the top to the bottom. And Theo coming in and changing everybody's expectation. Certainly, you know, it's filtered down through the coaching staff and through the players. Obviously, you have to have a core of players that take the bull by the horns and go out and get it done on a day-in, day-out basis. Go out and get it done in the postseason, and they found the right mix.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, it was Theo Epstein who was the one charged with deciding what they were going to do at manager. Alcantara handles the chance, and Kipnis tagged out, and there's 2 away. But for Theo Epstein, you're talking about a guy that's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. I mean, ending the curse and winning twice in Boston, ending the curse here. And then the other part is he had to make a move. I mean, you know, Joe Madden participated in a choice as well with the contract up, but, you know, the decision made to go with David Ross and for Joe to move on and go to the Angels. But, I mean, Theo Epstein has instilled a winning culture in Chicago, and, you know, they are year in and year out, and they have built a team around strong drafting of position players. First-round pick right here. The one other thing about Theo Epstein, by the way, Chipper Jones, there is no one that dislikes being on TV more than that guy.
I can respect that. As a player, you like those front office guys and general managers who make themselves scarce. Right. Let's just say.
Happ gets into one, left field. Dickerson back at the wall. Out of here. Happ the other way. And on a solo homer to left, the Cubs jump out 1-0. Well, the wind has certainly been a factor today. It was going left to right, then in, and then died down, and he got enough of it. This guy's got juice to all fields.
He does have juice, and this ball came out of the sweet spot. I know that he had to hit this ball extremely well to get it out of the ballpark. And that spot, Jesse Rogers tells us the wind just died down. That's probably the only reason it carried just above the net.
enjoying themselves in the bullpen. I mean, that's what it is. They get the celebration out there in the pen. Ian Happ with a dozen homers. There they are. Air guitar, got the band. Yeah. Little
like
robot in the middle.
The guy doing the robot. Yes, I love it.
Slider didn't work.
They've been doing that for a couple years now. Whoever came up with that idea ought to have a permanent spot in that bullpen for the rest of his career.
I think it might have been, at least in part, the bullpen catcher Chad Noble. I think. I'm willing to be corrected on that. Rizzo. Right field. And Joyce makes the grab. A home run. Ian Happ goes yard. The Cubs have the lead. This presentation of Major League Baseball will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. All right, let's check out our bracket in the National League. Coming up tonight, 10 Eastern, you get the Brewers and the Dodgers. Wheeler getting the start for LA. It would have been Corbin Burns, but he's out with that oblique injury, so it looks like Suter will go. Cardinals and Padres coming up. Our game here, 1-0 Cubs, and the Reds and the Braves are going to the 12th. 0-0. So Fried and Bauer are long gone. As Hendricks pumps in a strike. By the way, if you're wondering, if you're not watching that game, they don't do the runner at second thing in extras in the playoffs. The 1-1 is lined to left and a fair ball base hit. Schwarber over to pick it up. Marte speeding for second. Throw kicks away and Rizzo is there. Marte with a double and immediately the tying run is in scoring position.
This is a really good play by Starling Marte. Good job to get the base hit first, but he gets to second base by coming out of the box thinking double. He knows who's in left field. Kyle Schwarber, not the swiftest. He's got to plant and make that throw to second base. Still would have been in time if Kipnis picks it.
Right.
But I think it's a good gamble by Starling Marte to try to get to second base with nobody out, try and get this game tied.
Jesus Aguilar, the DH, is lined out and he is doubled. That two-seamer clips the outside corner and it's 0-1.
Boog, just a third inning in a row. Man on second, nobody out for the Marlins. They've got to capitalize on these opportunities. They're not going to get them too very much more often.
In the air, Happ makes the grab. Marte bluffs.
Get your ice cold Bud Light, Seltzer here.
I'll take 2.
Coming right up. Well, they're not stadium stairs, but they'll still give me that stadium stair rush. What's the score up there? Ooh.
It's 1-0. Ryan Anderson now. Anderson 0 for 2. Mentioned this is the guy that led him in homers. They'd love him to run into one right here. A third-round pick out of Arkansas. Got a big-time arm. He hits a Marte at second and 1 down. It's amazing, isn't it? 87-88 with a 2 and a 4-seamer. And yet he gets swings and misses with that fastball chipper.
He really does, and it's that movement, you know, that he's made each of these guys aware that he will throw that two-seamer in, and once they start pulling off of it, he's got the outside corner.
The 0-1. And that clips the corner. Pat Hoberg there. I don't feel like anybody has complained, either pitchers or hitters, with Pat Hoberg's zone today.
He's been pretty consistent. I'll give credit where credit's due. I'm not usually doing that with umpires, but he's been pretty consistent.
There it is, 3D cheese, we call it. Got a piece of the cheese. Because we're hungry and we like hors d'oeuvres. The 0-2. One of the things for the Marlins as an offense, much better against left-handed pitching. If they could steal one of these two and then face Lester, that would be the thing. But against right-handed pitching, just 235 and 355 to slug for Don Mattingly's team. So when they do offensive damage, it is usually at the hands of left-handed pitching. So they're going to have to sneak one out against either Hendricks or Darvish, and then a more favorable matchup against Lester. A 1-2, swing and a miss.
Hendricks has just worked over Brian Anderson a couple of times, but let me tell you something. When you can dot a changeup on the outside corner at the knees that starts off the plate and comes back to the outside corner, that's usually the kind of swing you're going to get. That's great. That's a great pitch right there. Unhittable.
Curve is downstairs. Ball one to Cooper, who grounded out in both the second and the fourth. Boog Sciambi, Chipper Jones, Major League Baseball on ABC. It's game one of the best-of-3 wild card series. Cubs leading 1-0 on an Ian Happ opposite field solo homer.
I thought Cooper had the at-bat of the game for the Marlins his last time up. Guy on third. Infield was actually back, maybe just past halfway. The one place you don't want to hit it is to third base. You want to stay inside the ball and hit the ball up the middle. And hit a ground ball to third.
And now the count is 3-0. Matt Joyce in the on-deck circle. Marte led off with a double. There's Joyce. With 2 outs, a man in scoring position. The Marlins trying to tie it up. That's a strike.
Be interested to see what Don Mattingly says, depending on what happens the rest of the game. But if they don't get any runs in this game, I'm going to be interested to see how he feels about their situational hitting. It has not been great.
That's got to be a robo, right? I don't like that dude. He's risking it all for us. God bless him. 3-1.
And this win too?
I'm saying this. I mean, that's a robo, right?
I know one person that's not going to be running that camera is not going to be me.
There it is.
There it is. Okay.
Our thanks to the Cubs crew.
I just heard the fire department and an ambulance go by outside the stadium.
Mike Fox, Mike Leary, who handled the duties with the great Len Casper, and Jim Deshaies, ball 4. And Taylor McGregor as well. So here's Matt Joyce after the walk. Cubs leading it 1-0. Joyce has walked and grounded out. Marlins team back in the postseason for the first time since 2003. First winning season since 2009. And Joyce an opportunity here. First and second and 2 outs. And the changeup misses low. Time called and Contreras will go to the mound. Marlins won the World Championship in 03. They beat the Cubs in that LCS. You look at what Kyle Hendricks has done. He's walked 2 or fewer in each of his last 41 starts. But today, 3 walks and a hit batter. And yet even still, Chipper, to me, he's been in control.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. It just goes to show you that, weird things happen in the playoffs. You grip the ball a little tighter. Maybe your location is not what it normally is. Certainly uncharacteristic of Hendricks today.
One downstairs, and now the count is 2-0. They play the shift. Kipnis in shallow right field with Joyce up here. Wow, he went 3 straight changeups. First pitch, 1-0 and 2-0.
Matt Joyce is a fastball hitter. He knows that, especially a 2-0 count. That's when you know Hendricks has the utmost confidence in being able to throw that changeup at any time in this game.
4 straight. Yeah, I said wow. I mean, that's, add that to the list of dumb things I've said today. But it's more just you don't see it a lot that guys are willing to throw a 2-0 changeup. Kyle Hendricks is different. I mean, it's not wow. He feels capable of throwing his changeup at any count all the time. That's for sure. More dumb comments for me to follow. Popped him up. Schwarber across, Happ, and he slides and makes the catch. Replace your divot. Kyle Hendricks applauds himself, and Ian Happ was homer for the only run. Cubs lead.
Kevin Connors in studio over on ESPN News. The A's facing elimination against Dallas Keuchel. How about Marcus Semien going 418 feet, 2-run shot, 4-0 A's. Reds Braves scoreless in the 12th multi-game coverage via squeeze play.
I got Jason Benetti anchoring that, so you can check it out on ESPN Plus. Here's Chris Bryant, who is 0 for 2. He's limited to 34 games this year because of multiple injuries, including an oblique. A big grand slam the final Saturday of the season against the White Sox. It's been a trying year for him. Broke his bat, it sounded like, out to Rojas. 1 up, 1 down, and let's go to Jesse Rogers.
Well, with a 1-0 lead, guys, the decision for David Ross is when does he go to his defensive lineup. He's got Cameron Maybin on the bench. He can go into left field for Kyle Schwarber. He's got Nico Horner or David Bodie to take over at second base for Jason Kipnis. So it's a tough call here as they head towards the 7th inning. At what point does he go to his defensive lineup? Just 1-0 lead, but that seems like a lot when you have Kyle Hendricks on the mound.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, part of the issue is going to be how far do they get in this inning, and is he interested in costing either of those guys an at-bat? Schwarber getting a chance here, so maybe it'll be after this inning with Maybin. Kyle Schwarber in this one has walked twice. He's always been a guy with a really good eye, and he has thrived in the postseason. Lifts that one to right, going back Joyce onto the track. And with the ivy blowing, Schwarber just missed that one. So 2 away, and now Alcantara will deal with Wilson Contreras. Chipper, we saw Wilson's little brother William make his big league debut earlier this year. Good-looking catcher with the Atlanta Braves.
He really is, and Wilson will tell you he thinks he's going to be, his little brother's going to be better than he is. I'll tell you what, the Braves are in for a treat if that's the case.
Contreras 0 for 2. And there's a strike. Guy who was signed as an infielder. An all-star a couple of times. And he gets hit by the pitch. Well, against the White Sox in a 10-0 rout, he came up big. And after hitting this home run, the bat went almost as far as the ball. Can we just put Chipper Jones on camera? There's the bat.
That's awesome. Or is it? The old school guy in me wants to not comment, but hey, listen, I understand the adrenaline that goes along with an inner city rivalry, especially there in Chicago. So he's always played with a lot of emotion. That doesn't surprise me in the least.
That was fun. And I know that there are some people that didn't love it. Not if you're on the receiving end, right? All the guys in the KBO love it. Chipper, I know you're familiar with my work in the KBO. You were getting up at 5:30 most days to watch. I was getting those texts from you.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
huge fan.
Big NC Dinos fan. Hayward in this one is 0 for 2. For the Cubs this year, their offense was erratic, but one of the things that was kind of quirky about their season offensively is that they got really the majority of their production from the outfield. Popped up, left side, long run, Wallach. Oh, nice play. Chad Wallach on the pop-up, fighting the wind, into, out of his glove, and then caught it with the bare hand. Nice play by Chad. Cubs on top, 1 zip. Got it. This presentation of Major League Baseball will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Here's John Purdy now. Kyle Hendricks back to work. Pitch number 95 is a curve, and it's a strike. Billy Hamilton into the game defensively in center field. Covers a lot of ground. Happ moving from center to left. And there you see it. That one knee high. Looked like it got a piece of the K zone, but Pat Hobert said no. Contreras wanted it. It's 1-1. Inside corner for a strike, and now it's 1-2. Tomorrow it's Yu Darvish and Sixto Sanchez. You're looking for stuff, we'll have it for you. Back to the mound. Hendricks handles and throws out the speedster.
Kyle Hendricks hadn't been in complete command all day, but he's been able to get out of jams with all of his pitches. Fastball, sinker, four-seamer, curveball, and changeup. Able to throw that changeup whenever he wants, in whatever count. That's the reason he's given Miami a 0 in the run column up to this point.
And again, the Cubs do the best job of turning ground balls into outs in the majors. Good infield defense. Rojas fouls one off. Chipper Jones, this guy at the plate, Miguel Rojas. You asked Don Mattingly who the leader is, and he only told you part of the story. The guy that mentored him is someone that you know well, and part of what allowed him to become a leader was you, and that's Martin Prado. Martin Prado had a big impact on this guy as Rojas laces one into center field. A couple of guys from Venezuela, and when Prado was asked about leadership, he brought your name up. So from you to Prado to Miguel Rojas, here we are.
Well, that's very flattering for him to say that, but you know, Martin Prado is one of my favorite teammates, and if Miggy Rojas is half the teammate that Martin Prado was, like, you can certainly see why he's one of the leaders in that Marlins clubhouse. He learned from a very good mentor.
Chad Wallach now. And there's that curve and a good one.
You're seeing Hendricks go to this curveball first pitch. Why? To get an easy strike. He knows those guys are not sitting on breaking ball. First pitch. So let me just flip it in there to get a first strike. And that way I can dictate the rest of the at-bat.
No swing, said Will Little, the first base umpire. Ball and a strike on Wallach, who is 0 for 2. 102 pitches for Hendricks today. His high this season is 106. The pitch is upstairs. One of the things Kyle Hendricks said as Jeffers warms up, he went and trained with Eric Cressey because last year he said he felt like he would get fatigued at the end of games. He said this year he feels he's got more left in the tank, stronger later. He comes in having thrown at least 4 straight starts. And it appears the offseason work has paid off because he threw the 3rd most innings in the league. Only Lance Lynn and Herman Marquez with more. And he's a horse for David Ross.
It's the reason why he's throwing game 1, Boog. Reliable.
That one through the right side. That's a base hit for Wallach. Hayward up with it. And now 2 aboard and just 1 out and back to the top of the order. How much longer with Hendricks? And Jeffers continues to get loose.
This is only really the 2nd ball that we've seen stung to the right side by a right-handed hitter. This ball's hit pretty good. You can start to see maybe Hendricks losing a little of his location. Maybe going back to what you were talking about some of his late inning woes and not finishing off starts.
So just about 103 off the bat. That was hit hard by Chad Wallach. And now as the pitch count climbs, what does Hendricks do? 2 on. The Cubs bullpen ranked 7th out of 15 in the National League. Here's Dickerson, 0 for 2. In the air, that's pretty well struck. Hamilton can't get it, and it's gone. Dickerson the other way, and the Marlins have taken the lead. Out to left center field, and it is 3-1 Miami. Wow.
Wow, you want to talk about flipping the script right here. Cubs got everything going their way, a 1-0 lead. Their man on the bump. This is a 4-seamer that Corey Dickerson absolutely centers and drives this ball out of the ballpark in left center field. I feel like if this ball has much more air under it, it might not get out of the park.
Dickerson, the huge homer, and the story continues for the Marlins. Timely hitting, big spot there. They had the lead and a pitching change.
Welcome back. Jesse Rogers at Wrigley Field, where the Marlins have taken a 3-1 lead. And guys, I was talking to one of the Marlins players just yesterday, and I asked him, tell me something about your team that I don't know. And all he said to me was, we came to fight. We came to fight. And this is a great example. They aren't going to give it in this series at all, and they showed it here in this inning so far.
Indeed, showing fight here today, and the big blow delivered by Corey Dickerson as Marte takes outside. First offering from Jeremy Jeffers. Marte 1 for 3. And here are the numbers. This guy turned out to be a really nice signing. One missed the mark, and now it's 2-0. Jeffers wanted that call. One of the things for David Ross is no Rowan Wick, and that makes it a little more challenging. Kyle Hendricks 6 1/3. Did such a good job today. 3 walks, a bit uncharacteristic, but Still a good performance. But that one swing from Dickerson. I mean, Chipper, look, we touched on it at the beginning. In this game, each team has hit one home run. But it's just the reality. We're not going to sit here and be able to tell you who. But if you come on every single broadcast for the playoffs and say this game's probably going to be won by somebody hitting a big homer, you got a really good chance to be right.
Well, that's a great point. You know, this is the 4th inning in a row that he's had stress. Talking about Hendricks, where he's had base runners on second base with nobody out. You know, he's had traffic out there on the bases, and quite honestly, the Marlins didn't do a very good job of situational hitting, but Corey Dickerson rectified that problem with one swing of the bat.
And again, to be clear, you look at those numbers. I mean, they scream at you if you out-homer your opponent. Today, the Marlins have not out-homered their opponent, but the home run has been the big hit as Marte greets Jeffers with a 104-mile-an-hour line drive.
It's a great job right here by Marte. What a great pickup by the Marlins, getting this guy to anchor center field. Put him in that 2-hole. He's a professional hitter. All he does every year is go out and hit 280, 290, steal you a bunch of bases, get you a bunch of big base hits. Quality human being as well to have in that clubhouse.
No doubt. Ball 1 to Jesus Aguilar. 1 for 3 as they play the big guy to pull. It's not quite a full shift. Marlins leading at 3-1. That's Kipnis just to the right of second. Shadows cutting across home plate. And that one paints the inside edge at 94, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, you certainly want to have the lead going into these late innings with some of the arms in these bullpens. It's not that bad yet, as it's just covering kind of the home plate area, but as it gets closer to the pitcher's mound, it's going to be really tough to see.
Elwood riding in on him, got a piece, and the count is 1-2. And again, this Marlins team, an amazing story, went 31-29. Played the first 3 games of the year, had the COVID outbreak, 18 positive COVID tests. 1 player opted out. And after playing on the 26th of July in Philly, they basically were held hostage in the hotel room in Philly and then played again on August 4th. They played 7 doubleheaders. Only the Cardinals played more. Cardinals played 11 doubleheaders. And both teams got into the postseason. In the air, right field, well struck. Going back is Hayward. Gone! Aguilar with the home run. He goes the opposite way. Jeffress frustrated with the wind. And it's now 5-1. And a little wink from Aguilar as he goes around third.
Well, the 5th straight hit for the Marlins goes out of the park as well. This is a hanging slider, and I believe Mr. Aguilar knew he got this one. He was trotting from the get-go. Sure, the wind helped push it a little bit, but that ball was smoked.
That says it all. Frustration there. And Anderson swings through that. So 2 home runs in the inning. This is baseball 2020, folks, period. I mean, it just is. Get a big swing and a miss. And now it's 0-2 on Anderson, who's 0 for 3. The Miami Marlins up 5-1 now on the Cubs here in Game 1.
It's what the Marlins have been doing all year, Boog. They got a chip on their shoulder. They've got that us against the world mentality. People disrespect them or don't respect them at all.
Yep.
And all they do is compete and beat you.
Swing and a miss. Let's go to the studio. Kevin Connors.
Hey, Boog, the Twins are on the ropes in the late rounds. Top 9, Kyle Tucker, RBI single, scores Michael Brantley, 3-1 game. Minnesota, of course, 17 consecutive playoff losses, 3-1 game, top 9. Meantime, still scoreless in Atlanta, Boog. 36 combined strikeouts, a playoff record, just 2 extra base hits in that game.
Kev, by the way, the entire year, only 2 games went 13 innings. As that one is ripped into left field, and for Cooper, a long, loud single. And Jeffers getting hit around a little bit. Matt Joyce now 9th batter to come to the plate. Marlins lead at 5-1 in the 7th. No fans at Wrigley, but they'd be quiet regardless. And I'm sure Cubs fans watching a bit stunned. Five in yellow. Fouled off at the plate.
Well, Boog, if they hold serve right here in this game, your theory of out-homering your opponent will hold water. And that game down in Atlanta between the Reds and the Braves, 36 strikeouts. That's all about pitching and defense down there. Of course, I guess somebody could win it with a homer, couldn't they?
I think they could. I think they could. I would like to point out, it really isn't my theory. I mean, many people have advocated for it. My good buddy Joe Sheehan, as he likes to say in the postseason, ball go far, team go far. Runner's not going. I think the other thing too, Chipper, is you can put that graphic back up there. Those numbers, this isn't you out homer your opponent and you win 55% of the time. It's not you win 65% of the time. You out homer your opponent in the playoffs? Yeah. 70, it was 27-6 last year. Look at the 2016 postseason. You hit more homers than the other team, 27-1. And all that, by the way, courtesy of Mike Petriello. But, I mean, you think about, I mean, look, buddy, I apologize for hurting your heart, but, you know, Jim Leyritz and Ed Sprague, I said it. 2 of the biggest home runs, you know?
You got that right. No doubt.
I know you weren't there for the Ed Sprague, but.
Well, listen, if you have the ability to hit the ball far, it's very beneficial to do so. It's just tougher to do so in the postseason because you're not facing teams 4th and 5th starters. You're facing their top 3. And those guys usually are pretty good at keeping you inside the ball.
Joyce swings through that. Jeffers gets the strikeout. Well, the Marlins take the lead on a Dickerson home run, and then Jesus Aguilar adds 2 more. Round and third. Hey there, big fella. Marlins hang a 5 spot on the Cubs in the 7th and the 6th seed, leading at 5-1. New right fielder is a South Florida native, Lewis Brinson. Brinson, who came in a Christian Yelich deal from the Milwaukee Brewers. Got a kid who grew up rooting for the Marlins. He's a big Juan Pierre fan, and he's gotten the thrill of getting a chance to work with JP. Big righty on the mound. Sandy Alcantara has been great. Baez. And Dickerson disappears. Were you able to see that?
No, I couldn't. Alcantara really has been great. We sat here and said he hasn't had his best command early in counts, but he's been able to get back in counts by throwing his fastball simply by these Cubs hitters.
Yep. How about that? I think that, I don't know. Here, so in my mind, when I see something like that, that tells me how they feel as a team about how hard it is to get a hit. In the air, shallow right, Brinson. 1 away, and we send it to the studio and Kevin Connors.
Hey, Boog, the A's bats were silenced by Lucas Giolito in Game 1, but they got to Dallas Keuchel today. Chris Davis, a solo shot that chased Keuchel. Marcus Simeon's gone deep as well. Chris Bassett, 4 scoreless, 5-0 bottom 4 on ESPN News. Meantime, bases loaded right now in Atlanta. Reds, Braves, still scoreless, top of the 13th. We'll keep you updated throughout.
Games on today. How about the Cubs and the Sox in the postseason the same year? 08 the last time. Popped up. Wind. Rojas has it. And there's 2 down. All right, so the White Sox and the Cubs, they did it back in 1906. White Sox defeated the Cubs in the World Series. And then in 08, it was the White Sox losing to the Rays in the division series. That's the last time the White Sox were in the postseason. Cubs lost to the Dodgers. And this year, the White Sox up 1-0 in that series. But losing today. Here's Kipnis now. How about 8 playoff games today, Chipper? We have 7 of them. TBS has the other. My buddy Rich Waltz and Jimmy Rollins called out. Rich Waltz, former Marlin broadcaster. Like me.
Wall-to-wall baseball, baby.
Believe it.
Imagine the city of Chicago if both of these teams go far into the playoffs. This you know,
yeah.
Chicago is one of my favorite towns. That place will be on fire.
Oh man, I think it is as good an. I think. Look, I grew up in New York City. I still think the best American city in the summer is Chicago. It's like. Here's what I liken it to. You ready? Here's my analogy. You ever seen Charlie Brown's Christmas? When they decorate the tree and then they all dance around the tree?
Yes.
That's what everybody's like in Chicago in the summer. They're like that. They're that excited. Everybody's just dancing, right? They're all on the beach. Yeah. It's like everybody got let out of jail.
Some of the best people watching in the planet is
so
summertime
good.
in Chicago.
No doubt. And get a decent meal for a thin man like me. That always works out. Here is Chicago's own Jason Kipnis. And that's downstairs. It's a 2-out walk. So back to the top of the order, Ian Happ with 2 of the Cubs' hits today. And one of them left the park. That was in the 5th. Exit velo, above 95, hard hit. And Happ is not going to get a chance to face Alcantara, it doesn't look like. Don Mattingly, you see him walking to the mound. See Donnie's got his grab the rosin bag. Alcantara, brilliant today. Nice job, young man. New pitcher coming in. And we take a look at our game track. It's brought to you by Geico. Marlins lead at 5-1. All 5 runs coming in the 7th. Dickerson a 3-run homer. Aguilar a 2-run homer. Sandy Alcantara, excellent. And for the Cubs, Kyle Hendricks was really good until that one swing by Dickerson. Ryan Tepera will take over. For 21 appearances for this righty. And that one missing up and in. It'll be Birdie, then Rojas, and then Wallach. Jesse Rogers said the Marlins came to fight, and they sure did. In the air, Hayward near the line, wandering over, and that's out of play. Jason Hayward. Go ahead, Chip.
You're seeing that fight. You know, they fell behind. Their pitcher wasn't on his game. They made a mistake in the field. Their situational hitting wasn't, great early in the game. But then all of a sudden, they keep giving themselves opportunities, and finally they were able to capitalize with one huge inning to knock Hendricks out of the game.
2-1 inside to Birdie. Offering downstairs, Tepera walks him, and Birdie on for the 2nd time. Looks like we've got our first team to advance to the division series as the Astros beat the Twins and eliminate them 2-0. They win today 3-1.
It's got to be a bit of a shocker, no?
Yeah, no doubt. They won the division. I thought that the Astros could find some offense in the postseason. I knew they would catch it. Would they get enough pitching? And the answer in the 2 games against the Twins was yes.
Got to think before it's all said and done, the loss of Justin Verlander's.
Runner goes, throw, tag, safe. And Birdie's got his 2nd steal. So the Marlins, who were 2nd in the majors in stolen bases, 9th in stolen base percentage, and at least as of this moment are 2 for 2. Rossi's going to challenge.
I'm wondering if Kipnis kind of blocked him off the bag right here, and maybe got his, see where his left hand goes. No, he got around the foot. I thought there for a second. He's out. That's going to be close. I don't know.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, I know. It looks like his fingertips are up. Ah, man, that's too close to call. I don't know if you can overturn that. From that angle, you can't tell.
I'm not sure as they go back to New York, 6th Avenue. Right across from Radio City Music Hall, calling the field safe.
I think they're going to keep him there. After looking at all the angles, I really feel like there's not enough there.
Right.
From that angle, he looks out. From the left field angle, he looks safe, and you can't tell from the third base angle. So I'm 1-1-1.
Safe.
There we go. Nailed it.
Call stands, but Birdie is 2 for 2. What about here? Not so much here, but here. You can't tell. Can't tell where the hand is. And now time call. I'm fine with them not overturning that, though. Right? By the letter of the law? Dipper Domes?
100%.
Okay.
That's why I originally said maybe he's out. Looking from behind,
yeah.
But seeing that left field angle, you really get to see that there's not a lot there.
Yeah. Good job, Contreras.
Really good job blocking a
kept it in
59
breaking ball.
Yep, 59-foot slider. Tepera, a little nervous. Doesn't have a real good feel right now. And paints one at 94.
1-2 now. Tepera throws that one away, and Birdie with a big turn. Trey Hillman saying, hang on, find it. Tepera spraying it all over the place.
It's what we call a non-competitive pitch, and that really hurts on the catcher's forearm.
So now Birdie at third as the Marlins look to add on. And Rojas down there, and Tepera gets the first out. Well, he had spiked that slider a couple of times. So a pretty good one right there.
Really good one. That's what he was shooting for.
Tommy Hotovy out to the mound. Bringing the infield together. By the way, the Braves have won. Freddie Freeman delivers in the final in 13, and the Braves lead it 1-0. So meeting on the mound with the Cubs trailing 5-1. Boog Sciambi and Chipper Jones were in the 8th. The Marlins using homers in the 7th from Dickerson and Aguilar. Here in game 1. Sanchez and Darvish scheduled tomorrow. So in terms of pure stuff, Sanchez about as good as it gets. Darvish, a really good shot at the Cy Young along with Trevor Bauer.
Can't wait for that matchup tomorrow.
Outside to Wallach, who in this one has singled, grounded into a double play, and struck out. Marlins lead 5-1, trying to take the opener in this best of three. All three games will be played at the Cubs' home park. And a swing and a miss.
Now he's starting to get a feel for that slider.
That one on the outside corner, got him. Chad Wallach called out on strikes.
Well, after spiking a few, he's thrown the last 2 or 3 right on the outside corner. That was questionable, but looked like it might have got a slice of cheese on the outside corner. Too tough to take with 2 strikes.
And now David Ross with the left-hand hitting Dickerson scheduled. He had Andrew Chafin up. And he makes the point to the pen. We got a pitching change. Marlins on top 5-1. Back to the 2020 National League Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. Well, now playing on ESPN, the MLB Best of 3 Wild Card Series continued today through Friday. Plus Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Heat and Lakers tonight. Game 2 Friday. Both 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. It's all now playing this week on ESPN and the ESPN app. Andrew Chafin with the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. Let's see the overall numbers. He's going left on left here to try and get Dickerson. His team down 5-1. Check swing. Did he go? Appeal to third. No swing, says the man in the shadows. That's Bill Welke.
Heck with the numbers. Let's talk about that Al Fraboski stash on Chafin.
Strong, right?
That's strong.
Todd Jones. He looks like Todd Jones a little bit.
Todd Jones. That's a good call. I was thinking lefty.
Right side and handled by Kipnis. And that is the inning. Chafin gets out of it. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Marlins in the postseason have known nothing but success. You go back 1997, beating the Giants. Livan Hernandez brilliant against Chipper Jones and the Braves, and then winning in the World Series. In 2003, Pudge Rodriguez against the Giants. Derek Lee against the Cubs, and then winning it all and beating the Yankees. Twice they have gone to the playoffs, and twice they have won it all. And here is Yimi Garcia.
So what you're saying, Boog, is if you got a little extra cash laying around,
well,
and you're feeling froggy with it.
They were 20-1 to make the postseason.
All they do is go all the way, so they only know one thing once they get to this point.
Yeah. Rizzo 0 for 3. Cubs down to their final 6 outs. 5-1 Miami. I showed you Magneuris Sierra into the game in the outfield. Rizzo a strikeout and a pair of flyouts. And the kid that grew up in South Florida going to Marlins games Finds himself going head-to-head. And there's the defense with Rojas, Birdie, and Cooper on that right side.
And look at those shadows, Boog. You know, this is when it gets really tough. The pitcher's in the sunlight, and you see the ball come out of his fingertips in the sunlight, and it immediately goes into the shadow, makes it really, really tough to pick up rotation. That's why you might see a couple of guys flinch a couple times on pitches close.
Right in there for a strike, and now it's 3-2. Popped in the air. Left field, Rojas fighting the shadows and the wind, and he makes the grab. You know, yesterday the AL gets started. Today the NL, 8 playoff games for the first time. And our postseason bracket coming up tonight. You got Cardinals, Padres, Brewers, and Dodgers. And it's gone final in 13. The Braves, Freddie Freeman, they walk it off in 13. How many times the Braves strike out today?
21 strikeouts.
Wow.
I want to know the last time somebody has won a playoff game striking out 21 times. 2020.
Yeah, I'm going to say never. That's another one, though, that normally correlates. I believe the Reds led the majors in strikeout rate. So they struck out the highest percentage of batters faced. That's one of those things. You always say power pitching in the postseason works. The Reds have it. Today they just came up a run short.
They struck out 16 times themselves. So Bauer and Max Fried were as advertised, but those bullpens deserve a little bit of credit as well.
Bryant fouls one back. The Marlins back in the playoffs for the first time since 2003. 2 of the longest droughts active were ended in the Padres and the Marlins. The longest that remains the Mariners, but the Marlins hadn't been since 03 when they won it all. 2-2. Marlins won it all that year, led by your new BFF, Mike Lowell.
I don't know, buddy. They had some pretty good pitching back that year.
They did.
You know, when you're talking about the Beckett's and Pennies and Burnett's and Dontrell Willis's, they were dealing.
I think Mikey hit like 35 homers that year. That was his one monster power year. I mean, he always hit for power, but that was his highest. Take a look. What do you think?
Oh, just off. Just off. That does not get a piece of cheese, I don't think.
He had 32 that year. Got him looking. Nice job by Holberg to ring him up. And Bryant is gone. Back to the studio. And here's Kevin Connors.
Yeah, Boog, mistakes will kill you in the postseason. Just ask the Jays. A Bo Bichette fielding error kept things alive in the second, and Hunter Renfroe makes him pay. A grand slam homer. Danny Jansen just went deep, still 7-1 Rays, top 3.
Wow, wow. And here's Cameron Maybin now pinch hitting for Billy Hamilton. Marlins leading 5-1. So the Blue Jays have the unenviable task, by the way, of trying to come back in that one. As Maybin gets a piece. against Tyler Glasnow.
The Rays starting pitching is off the charts, has been off the charts all year. Going to be really tough getting behind the 8-ball like the Blue Jays did.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Wallach, struck him out. Good work by Yimi Garcia, and the Marlins lead at 5-1. Marlins lead 5-1. Starling Marte will lead it off, and for Don Mattingly, this past weekend, it got scary on Sunday. A center fielder hit in the head by Yankees prospect Clark Schmidt. Suffered a contusion to the ear. Thankful for that helmet that went spinning off of there. But in there today, he's got a couple of hits. He has scored a run. Anchored that defense in center field. As Dan Winkler delivers the first pitch of the year. 18 appearances, 2.95 the ERA, just about a strikeout an inning. The walk rate a little high. Look out, got him on the hand. Ouch. And he's in some pain. That is not good.
This is what pitchers have been trying to do all day to right-handed hitters. Sink that ball in. I've been hit there before, and I cringe whenever I see guys get hit there, because it is not that hard to break that bone. When you talk about him kind of leading with the hands right here and catching the bottom part, that is your 5th metacarpal that takes the brunt. He looked like he almost might have taken the hand off the bat, anticipating getting hit, which quite honestly could save him. He's going to need some x-rays though.
Rojas, ask him if he's okay. Marte coming out as he gets plunked. That would be a huge loss.
It really would. As we said earlier, he's been such a great pickup for the Marlins. He's anchored things in center field. You throw him into the 2 spot. He just throws up good at bat after good at bat. Great influence in the clubhouse. Unfortunately, that thing looks like it's swelling up pretty good. Hopefully it's not broken.
Monty Harrison is at first, and he's running for him. That one clips the outside corner. Harrison, the runner at first. Aguilar unhappy with Pat Holberg. I think he got that one right.
He's been unhappy with a couple and has not been shy about letting him know about it. But I'm pretty sure both of them were strikes.
Yep. Off the outside edge, and now 1-1. Aguilar with a big hit to add 2 more to the Marlins total in the 7th inning. Harrison at first, runs well. Nobody out. Foul tipped into the mitt of Contreras. Marlins leading at 5-1 thanks to a pair of homers in the 7th John Sciambi, Chipper Jones, thanks for joining us. We'll be with you again on ABC tomorrow. Same two teams for Darvish and Sixto Sanchez. The 1-2 is cut on and missed. Snap throw. So one away, we take a look at StatCast, powered by Google Cloud, and Jesus Aguilar able to get one out just below the Tribune sign. 35 degrees on the launch angle, the exit velo just under 98. And for Jesus Aguilar, who hit 8 during the regular year, that was big. If you wonder, and Chipper, we touched on this before, why there is so much emphasis in terms of exit velocity, process. Because do it this way. I understand the idea of a hit is a hit, but if you sit there and think about just trying to hit it hard, if you hit the ball 95 or above this year, you hit over 500. So if you just stay in the process of hit it hard, hit it hard, hit it hard, if you hit it 95 and above all the time, you're going to end up, on the right side. 510 was the average.
510's pretty good. Take that. Yeah.
We'll have more of that elite analysis from Chipper Jones coming up. The old broadcasting school paying off.
He's not the best color man in the league for nothing.
1-0 check swing. Did he go? They appeal to first. Yes, he did, says Will Little.
Brian Anderson looks baffled at the
plate. A little bit, doesn't he?
He's had a rough day. He's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and I don't think he's too happy with that call on the check swing.
The 1-1 outside.
Looking at Dan Winkler, the stuff has never been the question for Dan. Even when he was over in Atlanta with the Braves, it was always too erratic, too many walks, too many non-competitive pitches, and you're seeing him again right here. The stuff is certainly electric.
2-1 now, and a swing and a miss.
But the consistency remains a struggle.
1 out, man at first. Marlins leading 5-1 with Anderson at the plate. One of the 5 guys that stayed on the active roster all year, along with Aguilar, Lopez, Boxberger, and Kinsler. And Kinsler up and loosening and likely to try and come in and finish this one out. But pretty amazing when you think about 174 roster moves. Mike Hill, president of baseball operations, their CEO, Derek Jeter, Don Mattingly, their manager. I mean, they had to deal with a lot. There is no training, right, for a pandemic. And 18 positive COVID tests. They used 61 players. You'll see at times 35 and 27. The reason it doesn't add up to 61 is because Logan Forsythe pitched and he made his debut. So one guy was in both categories. Just if you're interested and you're checking my math at home.
Really is amazing the way they've been able to build up the depth in this organization and overcome all of those early season trials and tribulations. For them to be in this spot really is amazing to me, using that many players and having them contribute to this team, not only being a game or two over 500, but making the playoffs.
Anderson, center field. Happ going back and makes the catch, dealing with the sun.
Hugo of Hair by Hugo believes every customer deserves the personal touch. I'm the Hartford Buck, and I believe Hugo's business does too.
With insurance designed for your small business, the Buck's got your back.
I can't help it, by the way, that commercial we just heard by the Hartford Hair by Hugo. The Marlins barber is named Hugo. That's the truth. You know, you've had Hugo cut your hair. Juice? He's Juice. He's the best.
He's cut my hair more than a few times. I think everybody looks forward to going to Miami just so he can, give you a little trim and talk to you for a little while.
Yeah. Like, he's way cooler than going Hair by Hugo. Juice. That's what they call him. But from back in the day at pro player Dolphin Joe Robbie Stadium, he had a little place, and then they gave him a room. And you got to go in there and sign the wall and everything at Marlins Park. And one outside.
Yeah, that's not a room, buddy. That's a parlor. It's a good point. That's a barber shop.
Yeah.
He might as well have the little red, white, and blue swirly thing outside the door. It's awesome.
Technical term, red, white, and blue swirly thing. I'm with you. Barber pole. I would have gone with red, white, and blue swirly thing, by the way. I'm totally with you. That was awesome. Hugo, by the way, still doing it, cutting hair. His son Willie does too. This is what you're tuning in for. That's on the corner for a strike. And obviously, this Marlin organization, Hugo is a guy who was really tight with Jose Fernandez. The Marlins clinched the playoffs 4 years to the day of his passing. Pretty incredible. Cooper hanging in there. Marlins have delivered good at-bats today. Hung around, and then eventually two big swings. One by Dickerson in the 7th, one by Aguilar in the 7th. And Kinsler is ready. The former Cub has been getting loose.
Speaking of Jose Fernandez, can you imagine this rotation if he was still in it?
Incredible. I mean, he was filthy. He's one of the best strikeout pitchers we've ever seen. I said that correctly, by the way. Jose Fernandez is one of the best strikeout pitchers we've ever seen. That's how good he was.
He was definitely, every fifth day, he was definitely must-see TV. No matter when he took the mound, the whole nation watched him.
Swing and a miss. And Winkler gets Cooper. That's the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Last chance for the Cubs. It's 5-1.
Field is Marlins closer Brandon Kinsler on to try to put this thing away for Miami. And Kinsler, as you guys mentioned, one of the 5 players on the roster the entire season. And so during that week in Philadelphia, during their COVID outbreak, here's how he stayed sharp. Throwing against his mattress in his hotel room. You see the right and left-handed batters are his chairs. You see the ball on the ground here. That's how players that were in that hotel tried to stay sharp. Just an amazing, crazy week for them. And the thing about Kinsler, he was on this Cubs team last year, guys, probably their best reliever, and his baseball pitching IQ is really high. So you better believe he was huddling with his pitching teammates before this series began, telling them what he knows about these Cubs hitters. So Kinsler on to close out game 1 here. Cubs just 3 hits on the day.
Good stuff, Jesse. Jesse Rogers with us all day and again tomorrow and again on Friday if necessary. Great work. You can read him, of course, ESPN.com. Does a great job out of Chicago covering the Cubs as Kinsler delivers to his former battery mate, Wilson Contreras. Contreras, then Hayward, and then Baez. Back to Kinsler for a second. I guess the first thing that jumps out to me for him, Chipper, he's not a big strikeout guy. So he goes to finish off games, but he's trying to do it by getting the ball put in play.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A good sinker and some of that baseball IQ certainly has to come into play. You don't have overpowering stuff. Ball's going to be put in play, but if you put it in the right spot like that right there.
Contreras racing for second. There's the throw. And he's in. It's a double. Wow, that was well placed.
As I was saying, you get weak contact to the right side, but this ball has eyes. This is right off the fist. What a good pitch. Boring in on the right-hander, and he just squeezes it inside the line. That's a beautiful thing as a hitter.
First runner in scoring position for the Cubs since the 4th inning. And here's Jason Hayward. Chipper, that's picture that Jesse showed us of Kinsler in the hotel. I just can't even imagine. I mean, that, you know, we sit here and do the ha-ha, that's funny. But no, that's how he got his work in. Like, legit. That's how he was trying to stay sharp. And they had guys putting sanitary socks on and throwing a ball into the sock so that they could simulate throwing in the hotel. As Rojas pulls that down, and there's one away. So here's one, Caleb Smith. Yeah, check this out. This is what they did. So the ball's in the sock so it won't come out. Watch. So he's throwing it full, you know, regular effort, and that's what they had to do.
Well, hey, you know, these guys are serious about their jobs. They need to stay in shape. They're confident that the season is going to continue. So you can't take a week, 10 days, 2 weeks off and not throw. I saw a similar post by Jack Flaherty on social media where he had his mattress pressed up against the wall, and that he threw into that mattress. That's just how they stay in shape.
By the way, Chipper, just an update on our breaking information. Hugo actually texted me to let me know that he actually does have a barber's pole outside of the shop at Marlins Park.
I've been out of the loop for a little while, Luke, so.
Outside, and it's 1-2. Kinsler trying to record the final 2 outs to give the Marlins a 1-0 lead in this best of 3.
Boog, how about this shadow-wise? Okay, so you got the pitcher in the shadow, and then halfway in between home plate and the pitcher's mound, you got sun. So it's almost like a blink. And it's really tough to hit in these conditions in this particular ballpark.
Wow, look at that. No fans. It's like a scrimmage. The only thing, you know what it reminds me of is going to Old Busch Stadium, I guess even New Busch Stadium. They'd finish games on Saturdays and Sundays, and the high school teams would come out. The stadium would be empty, and they'd be playing games on the field. And it'd be totally empty.
What a thrill for those kids.
No doubt.
That'd be awesome. I can remember when I was in high school, we used to play our state championship games down at Boardwalk and Baseball.
Oh, sure.
In Haines City, Florida.
Great pitch. Two-seamer runs across the outside corner. Baez rung up.
Here's just excellent execution by a pitcher. You see that movement back to the outside corner. That is impressive.
Fans, MLB celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month by recognizing the contributions made to our game by the Latino baseball community, past and present. Follow at Las Mayores and at MLB, and visit lasmayores.com for full coverage. That's right, we're rolling our R's.
I was going to say, that is excellent rolling of the R's right there.
That's right. We got the Marlins, Miami. Mike Napoli on the right there. Red Sox talking with Anthony Rizzo. This is still a dangerous Cubs team. They got one of the best in the game starting tomorrow. I mean, the Marlins guy doesn't take a back seat, but there he is, Yu Darvish. He has been sensational this year, and he'll be tasked to save their season.
It's got the good flow working too.
Yeah, there he is. He's got to put it behind the ear. In the air, and this could do it. Birdie. Do they see it? Yeah, they do. All right, Marte makes the catch. Or I should say, Harrison makes the catch. And that is that. And the Marlins have won game one. So Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs, a game from elimination, 5-1 the final score. Thanks to our entire outstanding crew here in Bristol. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. We'll be back with you on ABC again tomorrow at 2 Eastern. Sixto Sanchez and Yu Darvish. Marlins win it 5-1. For Chipper Jones, our producer Scott Gustafson, I'm Boog Sciambi saying so long. The fighting Marlins at it again. They win game one, 5-1.